Welcome to What's Trending with Tire Review, presented by AAAPEX 2022. I'm Maddie Weiner, and today on the podcast, I'm joined by Keith Mait, Senior Vice President and General Manager, Auto, Oil, and Gas of Synchrony Financial. Keith, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Maddie. Nice to be here.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Synchrony recently conducted its major purchase journey study, which reports on consumer behaviors around major purchases like tires. So can you give me some ways in which Synchrony found that, consumer buying habits changed during the pandemic? And also maybe just a little background on why that survey is conducted?
Sure. Well, let me give you a little bit of background on Synchrony and more specific our auto platform and in business. So Synchrony Automotive, Oil and Gas is part of the broader Synchrony offering. We offer a Synchrony Car Care Network credit card that's in many cases branded with our partners' logos on them, that offers promotional financing to help with affordability of these purchases that you mentioned. And so what we found on a regular basis is we conduct major purchase studies to try and figure out what is driving the decisions behind consumers' buying habits.
Okay.
Now, in the auto space, things are a little different because you have the planned and you have the unplanned. And so what we found during the pandemic is that, for the unplanned consumer, for, when those of us are driving on the road and we encounter something that it could be a flat tire or an unfortunate event like an accident or something like that.
Right.
The activities of our consumers generally rely on the things that they always relied on, and that was predominantly, a referral or where they were guided to from their insurance companies, or simply where they've been to in the past.
Right.
Now, for those unplanned activities, we always recommend that people take some thought and some time to figure out what it's going to cost them, how long it's going to take, how will they afford it.
Right.
And
right.
for those activities, our card is there as a way to help them sort of overcome that unplanned expense. And we've all been there, and we know the stress that generally comes with it. Our goal is to help things become more affordable. For the planned activities, via the sort of COVID or pandemic experience that we all went through, we find that our consumers are just so much more well educated. They've spent a lot of time in advance understanding what they need, where they're going to get it, how much it should cost, what their options are for affording it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we've really honed in on is the consumers now, that choice that they have in a planned experience is their currency. That is what they're using to go and determine what is the most flexible, affordable, convenient, and quality experience that they want,
right,
given they now have that currency to spend.
Right.
And so that's how we've seen things evolve over the last 2.5 years. And we believe, through the ways that we help consumers and small businesses offer affordability, that we have, the most compelling offering in the market today.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. So you're saying like consumers, I guess now more than ever, are more planned, more researched with their planned purchases, you're saying, correct?
They are
Okay.
very much planned. Our studies indicate that they spend, in some cases, for these planned expenses, months of time ensuring that they understand that they're going to someplace that's very reputable,
right,
that's offering them the most fairest deal, and coming from somebody that just had some work done on a vehicle, can do it on time.
Yeah.
Because, I need my vehicle to get to work every day. And if you tell me 1 week and it's 1 month, well, that changes my ability to make a living, support my family, and
Right.
and help me live the life that I want to live.
Yeah, that's so true. And I know, a lot of tire dealers, at least that we've been talking with recently, some of our top shops are, Synchrony customers, and they've praised consumer financing cards like Synchrony for, helping customers when they have that unplanned expense. But a lot of technology in the tire industry revolves around inspections too now. So more and more people are being able to plan for that tire expense down the line when they have, I don't know, 30 seconds of tread depth or something. So it's interesting how, I guess, the pandemic has changed, the consumer researching portion of that. And you were saying too, with these planned purchases, I know the study found that a lot of people start their purchasing journey on their phones now too, correct? Can you maybe go into the data around that?
I can, yeah. So people were starting their purchases on their phones before the pandemic, but it wasn't happening at the frequency that it is now happening.
Okay.
So what we now find is that close to 2/3 or 64% of consumers are planning their purchases on their phone today versus 2 years ago, and it's up nearly 24%. So
Wow.
that is, quite a considerable leap. The entire experience though is starting online, but it's still finishing in the store, and we can't lose sight of that, right? Nearly, 79% of our consumers will still visit the store location while they're making their purchase decision. So we know in auto, if you're not doing it yourself and someone's doing it for you, you still need to go visit something, other than your own garage,
Right.
and that's playing a role in the decision making on when and how they're going to make their purchase. So they're starting on their phone, but they're absolutely taking into account the physical presence of the store, the cleanliness, the location, the hours,
Mm-hmm.
and more importantly, and this is the thing that we're really trying to ensure our small and mid-sized business partners understand, is ensuring that the experience you get on the phone aligns with the experience you get in the store. What you do on your phone is acknowledged and represented when you get into the store, so the consumer feels like you know them, because
Right.
you've already engaged and you've started your journey on the phone. You want it to continue in store, and there shouldn't be disruption. You should feel comfortable.
Yeah, so true. I know in just my purchases for things outside of vehicle care and maintenance, I like that as a consumer too. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's interesting to see that more and more transactions are starting on the phone. Yet in store is very important, like you're saying. People still care about coming to a tire shop that's clean and friendly and welcoming. So yeah, very very interesting stuff. So speaking of in-store, the data revealed that, like I said, being physically present is still important. So can you maybe go into some of that, some of the data around the in-store experience that you guys found with this study?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have found, we run this study across multiple industries. So the
Okay,
information that I'm giving you is very specific to auto.
right.
And in our automotive research, the findings have confirmed that the in-store experience is vital. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it is absolutely vital. But as I mentioned, the digital presence is where they're starting. So as we talked about that comfort level of being able to connect the dots from a mobile to an in-store experience, that in-store experience needs to remain inviting. It needs to remain comfortable, but it's serving as a lead generation recipient of what happens digitally. So you
Right.
want that continuity in store with your associates and with your managers to pick up on where your digital presence left off. That can include things like appointment booking technology, right? Where you spend some time on your phone trying to figure out, when can I come in? When does it work for me? Confirming that appointment, then going in there and making sure that they acknowledge and represent that, you're there, you're next. You rely on that on time acceptance, as well as that commitment to have, assuming that there's no unplanned expenses, that
Right.
your car will be completed with the service you asked for and the time that you expected. What we've also done with the in-store experience that leans back on the digital side is we've tried to give consumers more knowledge in advance of the affordability of the service that they're
Okay.
trying to get done. Tires, transmission, maintenance and repair. And so when the dealership or the garage, the store conveys an estimate of some sort, we've created technologies that give consumers the ability to apply for credit in advance, using hard pull technology that hits their credit score, or pre-qualify for credit in advance, which takes a softer element and doesn't leave an imprint on their credit score. Either way, whatever the consumer's choice is, they have that ability with Synchrony Car Care and our automotive partners to execute on. So no matter what that consumer's credit history is, if they're in need of credit or their credit history is thinner, they have the ability to test the water with a pre-qualification technology.
Okay.
Or if they're comfortable with their credit history and they know they want to move forward with this service, they could qualify directly and understand what their credit line is, what their monthly payments might be. Do they qualify for any promotional credit? And that all can translate in store, but they're doing it on their own device. They're doing it in the comfort of their home.
Okay.
They're not sharing their personal information with a stranger.
Right.
But all they do is they qualify on their mobile device. They walk in and they say, "Here's my account number," and then the store, the associates can access the credit information on our Synchrony portals or through our integrated technology, and complete the transaction as if the whole thing had happened in the store. And let me add one more element to it that offers more personalization and customization to our small and medium-sized business partners.
Yeah.
Is we provide each one of them with their own custom link that they can put on their websites to demonstrate and point their customers to say, "I just provided you with this estimate. Go to our website, click on that link, and that will give us direct access to what you just applied for. You come in, we can see exactly what you're approved for without having to waste any of your time." And so for as you're aware, and I'm sure many of your readers and your viewers deal with on a daily basis, we operate with thousands of independently owned and franchised stores and merchants and dealerships on a daily basis, and tens of thousands. And us providing a generic or general link to a big pot of data isn't going to help these small businesses feel or manage their business in a unique way. So we've gone that extra step, and we've provided these small merchants with independent and unique links that they can use inside their store or on their websites to help make that process more seamless or more user-friendly, or more importantly, since COVID and the pandemic, contactless.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So you use your own device to scan a QR code or accept a link, and you're not necessarily having to touch or engage with anything physical in front of you.
Well, Keith, talking about the major purchases that, people go through, and especially in the automotive industry, tires is one. People are dishing out a lot of money for their set of tires, and consumer financing is obviously brought into the conversation a lot. So what did the study find about how people are using consumer financing nowadays? specifically when making these large automotive purchases. Can you maybe delve into some of the statistics around what people said about their major purchases, especially with consumer financing in the picture?
Absolutely, Maddie. Thanks for the question. So the last 2.5 years have just been complicated.
Yeah.
When we started in the spring of 2020 and the months after that, we all as consumers in the United States began to receive and feel like there was more stimulus in the system. There was more available cash flow. We weren't traveling as much. We were saving more.
Right.
There was more sort of money to spend, so to speak, and the needs of credit for a variety of things were varied. You had your planned activities, you had your unplanned activities, but the desirability to be a healthy consumer, treat your debt the right and responsible way was paramount.
Right.
Fast forward to today, where there is no more stimulus. People are very much back to work, in some cases in offices like you are or like I am. All the stores are open. But we're under considerable stress due to external factors like inflation or supply chain challenges. And those savings rates and those stimulus dollars have since been depleted or they've been reduced. And now people are starting to have to rely on the need to create more affordable and more attainable budgets and start to think a little bit more about planning in advance for some of these unplanned experiences, these rainy day funds that we all need, or the planned experiences that we need. And so what we've seen over the last 6 to 12 months is the market has reacted in a way that's everything that we're our dealers and merchants and clients are responding with is, the costs have gone up. The prices have increased for virtually everything.
Yeah, right.
Inflation is hitting all of us. We know on average people are spending close to 25% more on their everyday purchases than they were a year ago. And that does not exclude their automotive needs. Certainly, we are all putting fuel in our cars. There's no question that the influence is there. But on average, with our clients and what they do and the services they provide, they've had to make some significant adjustments, and that has led to a much greater need to create options for our customers, our store owners, to introduce their service, but position it with their consumers in a way that acknowledges and informs them that they can break it up into smaller monthly payments by choosing to work with Synchrony and help to create affordability over time. If someone gets hit with an unplanned $1,500 expense, for example, and the merchant is informed of our promotional financing offerings, well, they can break that into 12 equal monthly payments, which might fit a little bit more comfortably with a consumer who has a budget of $125 a month rather than $1,500 at once.
Right.
Not knowing what's going to happen over the next 12 months with more inflationary pressure, more unplanned expenses. Knowing that you can afford $125 a month is a lot more tolerable for many people than $1,500 at once. And once again, what that does, Maddie, is that's another example of the currency that consumers have in trying to figure out what are my choices.
Right.
And the fact that they have a choice, that you're presenting them with a choice, makes them feel like you're thinking about their outcomes and trying to help them solve for getting that service done at your shop, introducing them with some options, making them feel more comfortable, and ultimately turning them into a repeating customer with your store. So they'll remember to come back because you thought about their needs and help them come up with a solution that fits within their budget.
Yeah, for sure. So this is a, sort of not only just a tool in general for dealers to help their customers. We always talk about, during the tire sale, making it more consultative and educational for the consumer. So this could be, a tool that they add into that conversation.
That's right. And that retention tool is also well built within the Synchrony offering with our clients. And in many cases, we have branded credit cards with their logos on them that sit in consumers' wallets and get pulled out, on a regular basis. Our cards, besides being accepted at our partners' locations, are accepted at over 1 million automotive related locations around the country.
Well, Keith, I want to say thank you again for taking the time to come on the podcast. I appreciate you sharing the insights from the study and, sharing more about how Synchrony works with its dealer customers. And thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Maddie. It's been a pleasure.